first of all, hi, how you doing? It is Macrame Plant Hanger Day. Macrame is one of my favorite things to do. And it was one of y'all's favorite things to do too, because we kept selling out of kits. We have no more. Well, we will tomorrow. We'll have more macrame rope tomorrow. So I'm gonna use half of this and then half of this one. Actually, I need it to be even. Hand me one more of those, of the white ones.
Yep.
So this will help us at least at first. Since I'm gonna have two different kinds of rope, you'll kind of be able to see the stuff separately. Okay, so you may notice if you look at your rope on your ring, the pieces might not be like even. You might have some really short ones and some really long ones. So what I want you to do is take it off of your ring. So it's on your ring like this. And Madison, you'll tell me if I'm not in the camera.
No,
right?
you are right there.
So you're on your ring like this. So to get it off, you can just pop it up over the ring, okay? And take it off, get it off your ring. I'm gonna set this aside. Oh, I'm gonna set this on my hook. So I wanna find the middle of each of these pieces. So this will take us a little bit, but hey, I'll just talk to you. So I'm gonna find the middle of each one like that. I just want it to be more in the middle, and then I don't mean to turn my back on you, but I'm gonna set it here. So I have these nice handy hooks. You probably don't have these at your house, but you are gonna wanna find some place where you can hook your macrame hoop. So it can be like on your shower curtain, or if you have a towel hook, or over a chair. I've done it on my ladder before. You're just gonna need some place where you can like hang your ring. Or you can make someone in your household hold it for you the whole time while you do this. So again, like I'm just finding the middle on each of these. You should have plenty of rope, but I want to make sure you don't end up with like really long pieces and then a short piece that's barely usable. Okay, can everybody hear all right?
Yeah, leave us a comment if you can hear us well.
Or if you can hear us not at all.
Yeah.
So two things are different about this video. First of all, I'm wearing different clothes. I realized, well, I always kind of wear the same thing, for a week. And usually it doesn't matter because I don't see the same people every day for a week. But since we've been doing live videos, I've seen you guys, or you guys have seen me every day this week wearing the same clothes. So I wore something different. And we are in the different studio. Wanted to have a blue background to help you see this a little bit better. Okay. So now I've got mine all even. And you don't have to, yours are all one piece, but I'm gonna mix mine in. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, Gayla says our sound is good. Thank you.
All right, so I'm making these kind of as flat as I can. They're not all bunched up. And I'm gonna take my ring, and my ring is through my loop like this. With me? I'm going to reach through my loop, grab my ring, and pull that down. And that's the fastest way to get that on. Okay? I'm going to show you again. So the ring goes over my loop. I reach through the loop, grab the ring, and pull. Okay? Give us a thumbs up if it makes sense. All right. Let's get started. Oh, let me show you the finished product. Let me put a pot in it. Hang on. So this one, the pattern that we're doing today, it'll fit a bigger pot or a little pot pretty well. So it is versatile. You probably can't see down this low, can you?
We can, yeah, we're good.
Let me get a pot in it. You'll see it with a big pot. Oh my goodness. I don't need all this stuff. Okay. So here it is with a big pot, and I'll switch it out with a little pot here in a minute as you knot. Ooh, it's heavy. But we're gonna learn how to do the spiral knot, and then down here, well, it's twisted, but down here we have a square knot, and then at the bottom, oh, I never finished it at the bottom. At the bottom, we will do a third knot. Ooh, I'm kind of afraid this is gonna fall out now, but I know that's not finished.
Oh no. Let's check.
What happened? They can't hear us?
Yeah, we lost some sound.
We did that before, and I wonder if it just is that the video cuts out.
Yeah, maybe.
Are we back yet?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so these knots, I'm going to go ahead and show you this, can be combined in all different ways. So this has all the same knots we're going to learn today. They're just combined slightly differently. So you are welcome to take creative liberty with your plant hanger today. But we will do it this way because I know it can fit big pots and small pots, and I don't know what size of pot you have. So if you have your own pot, you can kind of play around with it and change things how you want it to go. Another thing is, I don't know, this will be a good, I think, average height for people. I don't know where everyone is going to hang this, but you may want to keep that in mind too, that if you're going to be hanging it a little bit lower, I would just check it every now and then. So someone was waving at us as they walked by. I would check it every now and then as you're going to make sure it's not getting too long. Okay? All right, here we go. So I'll step back here. Do I need to scoot closer, Madison?
Yeah, just a little bit. I'll come a little bit towards you.
Okay. I've never done this before like this, so I'll probably show it to you guys a few different ways. Actually, I'm not going to be able to explain it backwards. Hang on, I'm going to get a chair. Okay, when I sit down, just tell me if you can see over my head.
Yes,
Okay.
I may raise up just a little bit.
Well, can you see my hands though?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you've got 12 pieces here. And we're gonna separate them into 3 sections of 4, okay? So I am using like this, so you can see I've got the natural cord on the inside and the white clothesline cord on the outside. So I just want you to be able to see the difference, like the distinction between those, okay? The natural ones here, we're gonna call like our core. They are just gonna hold our knot. And then it's with the outside pieces that we're actually gonna make our knot. All right. A lot of this is gonna be muscle memory. And so as you go, your hands will kind of start to get used to it, and it'll get a little easier. For this spiral knot, we're always gonna start with our left strand, okay? So I'm gonna take my left strand and I'm crossing over my 2 center core pieces, and I'm going behind my working cord on the right. So it goes over 2, behind 1, kind of looks like a 4. Okay? And now when these are so long, it's a little extra annoying. But I'm going to take this piece on the right. It's going to go under and behind all of this, my core. It's going to come from the back to the front of that loop. Now, as I pull tight, I want to hold my core. So I use my middle finger and my ring finger to hold my core tight. And then I pull my working strands evenly to get it to the top. Okay? We're just going to do that over and over. So the left side comes over my core, behind the right. The right side comes under, behind everything, through the loop. And then sometimes we get hasty because it's so exciting and we just pull quickly. So if you start to see something like this happening, it's because you didn't hold your core down tight. If you're using this natural rope, it is a lot softer, so it's more likely to kind of bend and stuff underneath you. The clothesline is a little bit stiffer, so it's almost a little easier for beginners. So I'm just pulling that tight and then pushing it up, but not so much up that it distorts the shape. I just want everything to be snug, comfortably snug, like a good cuddle, okay? All right, so from the left side always, cross over the front, behind the right comes under, behind, and through. Another mistake would be like if I were to pull one side, so I just pulled my right hand but not my left, and so see how now it looks not even. So you want to try to pull those threads, your cords, your rope. You want to pull it evenly. So I'm pulling down tight and out to the side evenly. So you are going to keep doing this. I don't count knots, but I will so that you can have an estimate. I did on this one. You keep nodding and I'll count, okay? So keep nodding. Here we go. Oh, I did 31. I could have made it around 30 if I was paying attention. So I did this 31 times. Or if you have a ruler, you can measure. Or you don't even have to have a ruler. You can measure with your body. But mine is about 9 inches. So from the top down, about 9 inches. So you're just gonna keep going. As this starts to spin, like mine is starting to spin on me, that's why it's called the spiral knot, I can let everything go and like kind of readjust. So it was like this. This was my left side, but I'm just gonna let it spin, and now this is my left side. The key here is that you're always starting with the rope that's coming toward you. So if you look at yours, I'm kind of holding this straight, but one cord is coming toward me and one cord is going away from me. We want to always start with this cord that's coming toward you. So if you get confused on what side to start with, let it hang, and the side that's coming toward you is the one we'll start with.
We asked for a zoom in, so I'm going to get up in Joe's space so we can see a close-up of this knot.
I watched Jimmy Fallon on YouTube last night because, you know, all of the talk shows are staying at home and doing things remotely. And he was out on his porch doing his monologue. And at some point he said, oh, and we need to thank my cameraman, my wife. And she wasn't laughing at any of his jokes, and he was not very happy about that. Oh, and I may be going too fast too. Let me slow down. Okay. In front and behind. Come all the way through. So as you kind of start to get faster, you'll just use your fingers to kind of throw the rope around. Okay, so it's kind of starting to get to where I can't control it, so I'm just letting it go. Gonna re-grab it.
Can't control it, so we're letting it go?
Yep.
That sounds like words of wisdom.
Stay in your house. Tie some knots.
Wow, this works up pretty fast.
Yeah, and I think the clothesline might be a little, my arms are getting tired. The clothesline might be a little bit thicker too, so it might look slightly bigger than if you're using the natural rope. So now once I have that one done, and again, I didn't count, it may be a little shorter than what my other one was. It is. But I am going to take my next 4 and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, but I'm going to stand up because my shoulders are hurting. Okay. So these, when I think, okay, maybe I have gotten them even, I think this one is still a little shorter, so I'm going to do one more knot.
So you're not even bothering to count. You're just kind of like, eyeballing it.
Yeah. Okay, so that looks even to me. Because also, it's going to be like spread apart. So, and I don't know if you can tell, but like they may be different. You maybe started down a little lower on one than the other. So even if they had exactly the same number of knots, they might not be even. Oh. So I think it is better to not worry about counting and just keep things looking even. Okay, I have one more side. How about you guys? So this one's going to be funky because right now it all looks the same, but it's about to start looking a little bit different. So you can see they're all even. You have a question?
Yes. So Gayla says, I'm having trouble keeping my core strands flat. Any hints? And I think you may have touched on this earlier about maybe keeping them.
Yeah, so I hold
tight.
them. Can you see my hand?
Yes.
Down here? Okay.
I'll get close.
So I hold them flat with my middle and ring finger. Mm-hmm. So when I do my knot, and I know my knot's going to be backwards, but the idea is the same. I am holding these flat and tight, so as I pull, they don't really have the option to move. And my hand was down too low, so I'm going to move it up now, so that as I pull, it keeps everything flat. So it's kind of just having to develop the muscle memory for all the different things that your hands are doing. So you're pulling this way and you're pulling down, but slow down a bit. Sorry, people were waving. I think they think we're probably rude. They're like, what's going on in there? Now, we have finished. Ding. So you can see I made mine a little bit shorter, partly for time. It won't really affect the look of anything. So we're going to jump down to do this row of square knots, okay? So to do that, I'm just going to measure so that I can give you an exact, so that if you want exact. Okay. It is about 6 inches. So my wrist to my elbow is about 6 inches too. So you can use your body to measure. You can use a ruler to measure. So if you notice, I was knotting with the white cord, and it is significantly shorter than my natural cord. you have to about quadruple the length when you're doing knots. So we've just lost a lot of this. So when we jump down and start our second knot, we are going to switch. I want for my working cords to now be in the middle and become my center core cords. And then what was my core is going to come to the outside, and those are going to be my working rope. Okay, so I'm jumping down. See, I didn't measure. About 6 inches. And so to switch it, I'm just going to take my outside cords and put them to the center. And then I bring what was in the center out to the top. Can you still see? Do I need to move this up?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. That way we can see once you get down. Oh, here, then I will move up. Or down. Or, hang on. Yeah, I need to move it down a little bit. Yeah. Oh, did I lose my
I don't think so.
spot?
I don't think it's going down.
There it goes. Okay. There we are.
Okay. So the outside ones go to the inside, and the inside ones come to the outside. You'll see a little twist there, but you won't notice it once everything is hanging. We're going to start the same as we did before. Left side comes in front and behind. Right side goes up and under and through, and that should be really familiar. That's how we've been going. But for the square knot, we want to fight the spiral. We want to make it flat. So now we're going to start on the right, and we're going to come in front and behind. And then the left side goes up and behind and through. So we just switch the direction. And when we do that, it lays nice and flat. So you can do your entire plant hanger with spiral knots. Well, almost. You will have to do this one time. But you can do the whole thing like this if you decide, I don't like having to pay attention to switching back and forth. That will be perfectly fine. But I like the mix, the look of it being different. If you get confused and you think, oh no, which one am I supposed to start with now? Remember when we were doing the spiral knot, we always started with the one coming toward us. This time, we're always going to start with the one going away from us. So in front and behind and through. So now this one's coming toward me, this one's going away, so I know I need to start on this side. So you will start to, when you're doing it right, you'll get, I think they kind of look like little Jesus fish, but you'll have a hump on this side, a hump on this side, a hump on this side. It looks more like a ladder with rungs going straight across. Whereas our spiral knot, well, obviously it's twisting too, but we don't really have like a hump, like, see how this same piece, it's not interrupted. It just is this little hump. Whereas over here, they're like twisting in themselves. Okay, if that's making sense, give us a little thumbs up or something. I try to always do these in pairs. Like really the square knot, the spiral knot, it didn't matter because it just is the same thing over and over and it twists. But with this one, like when I start on the left, that's really half of my knot. So that is one half, and then going from the right is the other half. So see when I did that, when I did both of those, it gave me one of these humps. So right now I have done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. How many did I do over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. What? Ha! I did one backwards. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's the one that I did right. Can you see? So all the way down, we have this hump, 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 hump. All the way down, nice and even. On this one, let me show you this one first because it happens sooner. Hump, hump, hump. And then I lose it. See right there? It's calling me?
Yes, someone wanted to get a hold of you.
So this is where I accidentally did a spiral knot. So see how this is like uninterrupted humps here until we get to this. So, but you can't tell, right?
Yeah.
So like
if I come back here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm not going to take this whole thing apart to fix that. And then on here, it happened right there again. That's funny that I did that twice.
So Wendy asks, if we want to make smaller hangers, do you use a skinnier rope or just shorten the lengths of rope?
Okay, thinner rope will make this part be smaller. So if you mean like a more delicate hanger or like to where it looks a little bit more dainty, and I have some made with smaller rope at my house, so when I do a little video later showing all my different plant hangers, I will be sure to point that out. So smaller rope is going to make this look smaller. If you want it to be shorter, if that's what you mean by smaller, not hang down as far, then yes, you will just do less. And depending on...
like less knots, right?
Yes.
Because you want to shorten that amount of...
Yes. Also,
like
the
knottage.
size of the pot is going to change the length of the hanger. So we can see right now, if I have... Let me put this big pot back in. Okay. So right now, if I stand up, this pot is hitting me at about my hip, okay, with it big like this. So let's see if it makes a difference. And the top of it, see how the top of the plant of the pot is coming like about to the top of where I started those square knots, and see how wide it is at the top. Okay, so let's look and see what happens when I put a smaller plant in. Will you go grab me that lemon planter? Yep. I don't want to put this one in here in case this pest decides to jump onto the planting. Needs a shower. Okay, oh yeah, we can obviously tell this one is hanging down lower. So see, now this one is, like the top of the pot is at my hip, whereas that one was significantly higher. On this one, the square knots are at the bottom, not even, whereas before they were way up here. So that was pushing this out, which gave us more room at the top too. Okay, I've got one more, like an even smaller one, so we can see what that does. That's where it's helpful. I have not found any like resource that says measure the size of your pot. Now here's how it relates. Like I haven't found that. I don't know if it's out there, but it's a little bit trial and error. Especially if you're making if you know, okay, I'm making this macrame hanger for this plant, this pot, this place. I think that's the easiest way to do it, especially when you're first learning. So this one is almost just going to get swallowed in here. So see how like it is way low because it's too tiny. So if I was putting this pot in here, let me get this guy out. if I were to like raise this up, see, and if it like stopped here, see the difference that would make? Also the circumference at the top is what's gonna spread these guys out. So you really are better to use, this is pretty small. Now I have some that have small pots in them, but what helps is when you have the base, because it spreads it just a tiny bit more. See how it like makes it a little bit further out. So hopefully that makes sense. I think it's a lot of trial and error, but that's where having something in mind already will definitely be helpful. But that's also the good news about this one is it will fit. This is like a 6-inch pot. This would be a really decent, you saw what it was like. So if you wanted to make it a little bit shorter, not have it hang down so low, you could shorten this distance here. You could also shorten the amount of these that you do, okay? On to my second, I'll just stop there. So I'm on to my second strands. So I'm gonna swap these insides to the outsides, outsides to the insides. And all right, since I didn't measure, I just let it, I get my first half of my knot on there and I kind of let it hang to decide if it's even or not. And I think maybe it needs to, I don't know, come down a little bit. And then I'll keep going. This next part is going to create the basket or the net that holds our plant. I need to quit taking this stuff out of here. Okay. So this is where we will start, like all these so far have all been together. And at this stage, we are going to tie them to their neighbors and then bring everything together at the bottom, and that's what will create the net. Now on this other plant hanger that I did, there is no net. But these are also really loose. So I can like move these. I could almost make like a little bird cage for it and move these all around like so. But when we do this one, we definitely want to get this net, because if we don't have it, especially if you're using a bigger pot, there's nothing to hold the pot. It's just going to fall out. And you may even see some that have like another row of knots. So and this is low because it doesn't have the base in it. But you know, when it was higher before, we would have had room to do a knot here, a knot here, and another knot, but there's really no need. So we're just trying, this next step is just to create our net with a square knot kind of down in the middle here. This is where I have the most trouble, and it's a lot of trial and error, kind of holding my pot up. With this one, not so much. We know it works for this size pot. We know it works for a small pot. So we've already done the work. We don't have to worry so much about the trial and error. But this is where holding your pot in here, and I'll show you on this. Let me just show you on that. So if I hold my pot up here, and I think, okay, I know I want this to be at the top. So I grab these and I kind of see, and having someone else to do this will help, but you can see how I'm kind of estimating, okay, I think it needs to go about right there. And so then that lets you know where you want it. And hey, I actually kind of guessed at the right spot. Lucky me. So I did this one, and I didn't even get all these in the same place. Okay. It is 5 inches. 5 inches down from here. Here is the key. We're going to take 2 from one strand, 2 from the other strand next to it. Now, pay attention. The ones that are on the outsides, they become the center, and then your center ones will be the ones you tie the knots with. That just keeps it, if you switch them, it'll kind of twist everything. Okay. So I'm coming down about 5 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches. And I'm going to tie 1 square knot. Okay, maybe doesn't look down far enough. Let me measure. Oh, yeah. 5 inches. Okay. So now I'm gonna go, let me go around, well, this way. So I'm taking the 2 from the outside, they become my core, and then I'm gonna tie it with the ones that were previously on the inside. And I find it easier to get all of these tied and then adjust if you need to. So those seem pretty even. Okay. Okay, so that all looks pretty even. This is another time when you can take your pot with a friend or a child or a husband or someone, a partner, and put your pot up in there, get it exactly where you want, and then gather everything together underneath exactly where you want it. And then you can take, you've got like all this extra, you can tie, just take a scrap piece and tie it off. I think I even just like grabbed one of the pieces like this, didn't cut it, and I just tied it on where I wanted it to go. But if you do not already have a pot, this is another 5 inches down from your knot. We're gonna go another 5 inches down. Okay. Where's my scissors?
Did you read Gayla's comment? She said, lesson learned, while doing macrame, don't set an open cup of water near you as you fling rope around. Rope will get wet.
Sometimes when I'm sewing, and I'll have like my coffee or something, and then I'll have a cup that I'm putting my pins in, like my quilting pins as I'm taking them out, and then I'll accidentally put my quilting pins into my coffee. And sometimes I don't notice it till I drink, until I'm like, there's 5 quilting pins in here. Okay, can you see the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. So at this stage, you're gonna have some that are really short. So, well, because I did way more knots on my spiral knot up there than I did here. So the ropes I used to do the spiral knot are gonna be shorter than the ropes that I did for my knots here, okay? So I am going to leave these short ones alone. I'm gonna find my longest one, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, you just want a decent amount of rope here. So I just find the longest one, and I'm going to cut it, that'll be enough. I'm just cutting it even with like one of these short ones up here. Not even even, just not too much shorter than. Okay. And then I had said it was about another 5 inches down, so that would be pretty much the same distance as from here to here. You're better off to have it a little too long than a little too short, I think. It depends on the pot, really. That's where, if you have a pot in mind, just double check that it will fit. If not, we know that our 5 inches will work for most pots, okay? So I'm gonna cut myself a second rope. It doesn't have to be as long. And what I'm gonna do to hold everything together. So what I don't want is for stuff to kind of get twisted at this stage. I want for everything to stay pretty smooth. And I'm gonna come down 5 inches. And I'm gonna take this piece of rope and just hold everything together. I'm not even tying it in a knot. I'm just doing like a half knot there, okay? I am gonna tuck these pieces up here so that they don't get in my way. Okay. So this one now is called a gathering knot. And I'll show it to you a couple times because it might not make sense, and you might actually need to YouTube it. I don't know if we'll be able to see it here enough, okay? So we're gonna take your rope here. Hang on, I always have to think about it too. I'm gonna take one end and I'm gonna let it hang down, okay? Let me spin this so it's hanging against the white so you can see it. Okay, and I'm gonna let this hang down. And then I'm making a loop like this. So see how my loop is coming about to where this is. Sometimes what takes trial and error here is you'll make this area too long or too short. So it doesn't depend on me, it depends on how long this rope is, but you'll see here in a minute. Okay, so I am gonna start wrapping. Let me get started and then I can show you what it looks like. Hang on. Okay, so here's my loop. And I started wrapping around, this was my little tail that was hanging down. So you can see how I started wrapping and I've wrapped it like 1.5 times so far. Now, once you get it started, it will become a lot easier. So now I'm just gonna wrap this all the way around, leaving that loop up. I'm pulling it snug. I don't want any space in between. I don't wanna like wrap it high like that. I'm gonna keep, sorry, this extra is what. I'm gonna keep wrapping this. I think you wanna do it like at least 6 times, but I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is like 9 times, this is 10. But you wanna get at least 6. Okay, so I didn't have to go quite so low on this one. It's just that I'm trying to get it all the way up to here. So this is where maybe, especially if I was running out of rope here, I'd be like, oops, I made that too long. So I would start over, make my tail a little bit shorter. But I'll just make it wrap all the way around. Okay. So now we're gonna take our end, and actually let me undo it one. So we're gonna take our end now, and it's gonna go through this loop. Okay? So here's my loop that I made at the beginning. This is the tail I was wrapping with, and I have put it through the loop. So now I will find my end that I left down at the beginning, and I will start to pull. And as I pull, that loop is gonna catch my end that I was wrapping with, and it's gonna pull it into that knot that I just made. So at this stage, I can go cut this off. And now I still have the little ends there, but I want to hide them. So I'm gonna pull this a little further until they're gone. So now they are tucked, they are hiding in there. The trick is not to pull this too far. So if I keep pulling and I pull my loop out, then the whole thing will come undone. Okay, so I'll show you that again since I undid it. And I'll make it a little shorter this time so you can see. so last time it was maybe a little too long. So we're gonna make it a little shorter. And it's just kind of tricky to get started. So that's 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5, 6. You want at least 6. And I'm gonna be able to get like a little bit more. 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'll finish it now. I'm gonna untie, this is getting in my way. This, oh, I think I got it tangled up. Okay. There we go. So now my thread, my end goes through my loop. Start to pull it down. So this is when, this one, especially since it's a little shorter, I have to be really careful that I don't pull it too far. So I was afraid I was gonna pull it out, so I maybe didn't cut those short enough, but you won't be able to see them. Okay, and then guys, that's it. The last thing that you will do, and this is completely up to you, what you want to do with all of these. So I tend to hang it where I want it to go first, and then I decide how long I want these to be. I don't cut them evenly because I don't want a big fat like blunt blob of these. So I will just kind of cut them randomly, and then you can always make it shorter if they're a little bit too long. But I just kind of snip them randomly. And then I might think, oh no, I want them all a lot shorter. So you can make it long tassels, short tassels. If you have the white clothesline, it's not going to, well, I'll show you what it will do for you. It's gonna fuzz out. It's just braided like around this core. So it's gonna get really fuzzy. And then if you want, you can go in, move all that fuzz out of the way. I can cut this part out and then let the fuzz hang back down, and then you can't see that part. I think that's kind of pretty. And then this other rope, you can untwist it and kind of comb it out, and it'll just give you a nice frayed look too. So you honestly could fray them all the way up to that knot if you want. But that's it. We did it. I feel like I should stand up. I feel like this might not be a good angle.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, let's get this lifted up a little bit.
So here, I can just, can you see my face now?
Yes.
Okay. So as always, let us see your plant hangers when they're done, especially if they have plants in them. The cardboard loom weaving that we saw, one of those got shared. Guys, so cool, so cool. I love those. So share those. I'm seeing lots of finished embroidery coming too. I will have a schedule for next week posted maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But we will be here for you through at least the 17th. So share this with your friends, and we'll see you tomorrow.